New York Governor Kathy Hochul putting the rollout of congestion pricing on hold indefinitely, saying that it could hurt the city's post-pandemic recovery. The new tolls were scheduled to go into effect later this month. New Jersey residents have a good reason to celebrate for now, and joining us is one of those celebrating. That would be New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer. And Congressman, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So should we look at this as a temporary victory in terms of what you were hoping for? Governor Hochul says not now, but as Andrew points out, the infrastructure is already put in place. The cameras are set up. I'm hearing that a lot of this was because of political pressures. You're facing congressional candidates who have to run in November, and they were getting massive pushback from places like Staten Island, places like Queens and other New York area where their residents were going to have to pay for this. You think after the election this comes back?
I don't, not in the short run. I think, this is Becky, as you know, a huge win for Jersey and New York families, right? In terms of their pocketbooks and what people are going to have to pay, $15 a day extra, $4,000 a year, which was just outrageous. And of course, it was going to lead to more traffic and more pollution in northern New Jersey and the outer boroughs. And I think a lot of elected officials heard what I've been hearing for years. Absolutely not. People just can't afford this, and we shouldn't move forward. And I think finally, and I want to thank Governor Hochul for doing the right thing here, I think realizing that this makes no sense, especially now when people can't afford to pay more, and it was going to cause more problems. So I look at this as a huge win. We fought till the very end. As you know, we've been fighting for 5 years. We fought to the very end, just 25 days to spare, through the kitchen sink at New York and then some. But listen, we got it done, and we're going to save people thousands of dollars a year.
Did you talk to Governor Hochul about this? Because this was really kind of a Hail Mary last-minute solution to this.
I mean, not in the last day, but I have and expressed my deep concern through the years, as you know, and what it would cost. Listen, I think now the key is to making sure we get back to a cooperative relationship to make sure New York can thrive and bring people back, and their small businesses are okay. And of course, I'm very focused on Jersey and making sure our families, have easy commutes, but also can save a few bucks. And this is more than a few bucks. They're going to get to save thousands of dollars a year because of this indefinite pause. And I think the word indefinite is key here that they used.
Hey, Congressman, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I get why this is a win for you in many ways. But clearly, there is now going to be a big, call it billion-dollar hole in the budget in New York. And so there's going to be a question about how that's ultimately going to get paid for. And I know you're saying that you don't want that on the back of your taxpayers. The argument now is that's going to end up on the back of New York businesses, likely. And then there's a question about whether they want to stay in this city. Given that we all dearly care about this entire ecosystem and that we have built on purpose lots of infrastructure around New York City to incorporate folks in New Jersey, Westchester, Long Island. There's a whole system built around this. What would you recommend to the extent, and I know it's not your responsibility, but it is everybody's responsibility to some degree, what would you recommend to fill that hole?
Well, listen, I believe it's all of our responsibility. It's why I believe in the Port Authority and the New York-New Jersey relationship. And then we fought very hard. We got $6 billion through the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which I helped write and pass from New York's mass transit system. I'd say they're going to have to clean up the MTA. This is a huge issue I've been talking about for years. They lost $700 million to fare skippers last year alone. People just didn't pay. They got to fix that, right? And listen, there's $600 million the Buffalo Bills are going to get for a new stadium. The owners there, don't give it to build a new stadium. Move that money to invest in mass transit in the city, right? So there's a lot of things that they spend money on. There's mismanagement that they can fix and clean things up. And we're going to continue. They get $2 billion every year additional, Andrew, for mass transit in New York from the federal government.
Congressman, I get that, but I don't think that in truth that's the fairest answer, because as we were discussing earlier, it's very hard to police this stuff in terms of fare skippers, for example, on a $3 Metro card. The amount of money it costs to actually have cops physically standing there everywhere, you will never make the economics of that work, unfortunately. You never will. Even some of the capital costs to actually implement some of these new things that you hopefully can't jump over.
Although I will say,
it's just very hard.
The number of fare skippers has skyrocketed. I mean, you're talking 45% of local bus riders not paying their fees to board at the last 3 months of last year. That's up from 21% in the last quarter of 2019.
I'm not saying we shouldn't fix it. I'm just saying that there's a much larger sort of piece of this puzzle than just...
You just can't allow, I'm with Becky, you can't allow lawlessness and people not to pay to ride, and that number has surged because they're not running it well. And we've got great law enforcement in New York, and they've done a great job over the years. We have to let them do their jobs, and I just disagree with that premise. Also, you have to watch the dollars that are spent. They blew an extra $1 billion on a 2nd Avenue subway stop because the oversight wasn't proper. They built it way too big. There's place and instance after instance where they're spending far too much money and not watching the nickels that people have to pay every day. And I think we got to hold them accountable. I hear what you're saying. Listen, it's a regional economy.
Congressman, do you support the unions, the construction unions that are responsible for the price tag being oftentimes 6 and 10 times the price it should be in almost every other city in America?
I certainly don't blame the hardworking men and women of labor if you're asking for better management. I mean, this is about a management issue, and they don't manage it well, and they've got to do a much better job.
And who do you think is managing those things? When the cost overruns happen, how do you think that happens? I mean, that's why I say, Congressman, this is a very complicated topic. And so I can see you're very happy today, but I'm saying to actually solve this really is so much harder than you're laying out.
I'm not saying any of this is easy, but the bottom line is they've had their problems have increased over the years, and you should look at the management. I mean, that's like in any organization. You don't just throw up your hands and say, oh, well, it's too big of a problem to take on. I mean, Andrew, if you went in there, I guarantee you in a week, you'd find 10 things that you could fix. So the bottom line is I think things need to be fixed. But more importantly, I think today we should focus on the fact that the answer is not just taxing people more, and especially hardworking families like nurses and electricians and firefighters and cops and teachers. That's not the answer to...
Josh, you think it's possible to reform the labor management practices of public unions?
Do I think it's possible to reform the practices? I think you can. You know how I feel about this. You should look at everything.
Tell me.
Right? No, I just believe in responsibility, and you should look at everything. But the bottom line is I believe fundamentally, if you look at the problem, this is a management problem and has been for years. It's actually running things better. You got to run the railroad better. And at the end of the day, you don't just turn around and whack hardworking people and hope that they're going to make up the difference because you have no way to fix it. That's certainly not the answer. $15 a day congestion tax wasn't the answer. And I think that everyone heard enough from people saying, you can't do this to people. You got to make life more affordable, not more expensive right now.
I mean, I will say, I'm somebody who would be potentially impacted, but I was not going to pay this tax. CNBC was going to pay it for me. I can push it back to the businesses. There are a lot of people who can't do that. The biggest short-sighted thing I think of this is you're trying to lure workers back to Midtown Manhattan because you want them here in the buildings, you want them paying for lunches, you want them going for drinks afterwards, you want them having dinner here, all of that revenue that would feed into the city. And I just think if you tax that, they are far more likely now to just work from home because they can. Post-pandemic, we've shown them that that's possible. I think that it's a complicated problem. I think everybody brings good points up. Andrew's point about the police is a fair one. They put overtime pay for police in the subway skyrocketed from $4 million in 2022 to $155 million last year. So it is difficult to do this, but there is a breakdown in society where 45% of the bus riders aren't paying and 13% of the subway workers aren't paying.
Congressman, the one other piece of this that I think is being missed in the puzzle is the folks who are driving into New York City are already part of the, I don't know if it's the 1% or the top 5%, because the truth is there is already a tax on the system. Parking in this city will cost you $50, $60 a day, if not more. Crossing the George Washington Bridge is costing you $15. It is a $75 project to begin with.
And there is a breaking point.
And maybe there's a breaking point, but we're talking about $10 or $15 more. But the idea that somehow you are hurting the folks who can afford paying $75 may very well be able to afford paying $95, right?
Andrew, you got it. I just
than somebody who go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I disagree with you there. I mean, come to Jersey, you're talking about nurses who have no options. There's zero options for them for mass transit in a lot of places where I live in northern New Jersey. You go to Sussex County, which I represent. They're not the 1%. They're not living high on the hog, right? But they have no other choice. They have no mass transit. It's not like New York. They have no mass transit options.